had quite a bit of rotation associated with it and is going to continue to rotate. Not much out ahead of this that is going to stop that area of rotation as well. But we're going to continue to see the potential for severe weather all across the midstate. All right, there's our shear tracker. Very evident. So what this does is it clears all of our radar products up, get rid of the rainfall rates and velocity data, and it shows you right where that area of rotation is and tracking off to the east northeast. So here's 41 and Farmers Market Road moving off to the east. Let's go to Ryan for a quick update, and we'll talk to him about what he's seeing and what National Weather Service is saying. Ryan?
Okay, thanks, Eric. Yeah, there hasn't been any updates exactly if this is on the ground. Right now, this is just radar confirmed, so no confirmation of a tornado being on the ground. But we do have this warning set in place because we do have signs of rotation that's in the atmosphere. So getting out to the big polygon here in the whole picture, the tornado warning right now is in effect till 7:15 for Crisp, Dooley, Pulaski, and Wilcox County, moving quickly to the northeast at 45 miles per hour. And we are seeing some of those signatures of a tornado. When we look on the winds here, we want to see those bright reds right next to those bright greens. We've really got that going on right now. So that's showing winds going towards and away from the radar, showing there's a potential for some rotation that's possible in the atmosphere. So if you are at Tippetville, really moving in that intersection between State Route 215 and 257, you want to be taking cover right now. Get away from the outdoors at all possible. Get to the most interior, lowest level room in your home, just in case if this tornado does touch down and cause any damage as it moves quickly off to the north and east. You want to be taking cover, getting into a safe place in your home at this current time. See if there's any more debris that's really showing up. Not seeing too much in forms of debris. On this, we usually see if there's a tornado tracker, if things are being lifted into the atmosphere. Not seeing too much of anything there, but on the shear tracker, we are seeing some shear really start to pick up right now, especially along State Route 257, a little bit here towards the intersection between 215 and 257. This is when winds are changing with speed and direction the farther up you go in the atmosphere, and could also show the rotation that's possible that's in the atmosphere right now. And this is why we're keeping a very close eye on this system exactly. So as this continues to move off to the north and east still, here's where we really got a big dip between the green and the red right here, just northwest of that intersection of 257 and 215, moving very quickly up and over to the northeast right now. We did just get another severe thunderstorm warning as well.
Yeah, that's embedded in that.
That is, okay. Oh, it's moved off to the east here. So we also just got a severe thunderstorm warning for Crisp, Dodge, Pulaski, and Wilcox County as the line of storms continues to move to the south and east, but we still have this tornado warning out currently. So let's look to see if there's any more debris stuff. Still doesn't look exactly for some debris. Still seeing a bit of the shear tracker, but okay, so yeah, we still got the bright reds right next to the bright greens. Let's put a tracker on this really fast as we get towards the next 15 minutes. As this goes out until 7:15, as this continues to move to the north and east. So let me zoom out, and we'll put a bit of a tracker on this just to see where the storm could be headed over the next 25 minutes or so. Still heading towards Finleyson and Pineview. Finleyson at 7:02 and Pineview. Quickly moving off to the north and east, that intersection between 257 and I think it was 212. We are just keeping a close eye on that, Eric. I'll toss it back over to you.
Yeah, Ryan, definitely showing some areas of rotation within this thunderstorm, this supercell in particular. So radar's off to the north and east of us. So we have the winds going this way and then winds going this way. So this is where the area of circulation is going to be. And as we talked about earlier, being close to and far away from radar, we're pretty far away from the radar in this spot. So we're looking anywhere from 2,000 to 5,000 feet up into the layers of the atmosphere. And that's where we see a broad area of rotation. Now, this doesn't necessarily correlate to what's going on underneath it. With the radar beam a little bit lower, we could see a tighter couplet. So typically in the mid levels of the atmosphere, you need to have a very strong supercell or mesocyclone in the midsection of the atmosphere in order to see a tight couplet. But underneath this, near the surface, we could see that mesocyclone being a little bit tighter, those greens and reds being a little bit closer to each other. It's just one of the things that we have to deal with as well. So this is going to be moving off to the east. We did just have a new severe thunderstorm warning issued, but let's stay with this, Ryan. Go ahead and get that push out, and then we'll jump up to that severe thunderstorm warning. So
I think it was that they expired the one for Bibb County that we had.
Oh, okay. So new issuance.
I think they just expired it. Oh yeah, or they got redone. Yes. It's saying that it got expired in the chat, but on here it still shows that it's showing up.
Okay, could be a little glitch. They could have accidentally hit something, but yeah, those storms are moving through the Macon area. So anyway, let's go back to that tornado warning, and we'll show you where the main area of concern is right now. And this is going to be Crisp, Booley, Pulaski, and Wilcox County until 7:15. We do have a severe thunderstorm warning for Crisp, Dodge, Pulaski, and Wilcox County until 7:15 as well, and that's going to be for this storm. Let's go ahead and zoom out a little bit, and let's take it to the south and west. We were looking at this off air, Morgan into Dougherty County, Albany. When we see the pink pop up, that's when we see winds in excess of 60 to 65 miles an hour. So this is going to be for the Albany area and Morgan area. Let's pop up velocity data and move a little bit further west, and we'll show you those really high velocity levels. Okay, and we are seeing a couplet form or an area of rotation just near the Morgan area. So we'll be watching that closely, but let's go back up into middle Georgia where we do have that tornado warning right now. And it appears that it's broadening out a little bit, not as tight. If you shift down a little bit, we might get the Moody radar, and that might give us a different picture into it. So
it's not letting me
zoom out a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay. I was wondering if we could get another view of it, but too far away from the Moody radar, but still showing an area of rotation moving through that Richwood area. And look how fast it's moved from Richwood off to the Tippetville area. So there's 257 and 215. So as I mentioned, it was moving right through that intersection. And is this current scan?
No, this was the 645.
That was a pretty good couplet that was trying to form there. And I think this is becoming a little bit more broad, which is good news. We are seeing the rotation become a little bit wider in those reds and greens, not necessarily right next to each other. And let's go ahead and zoom out, and we'll run this storm out really all the way almost to Carolina, South Carolina. So McRae, Eastman, and if you want to put a track on that and pull up some towns there, Ryan, and we'll get it at least through Soperton in the Vidalia area where this storm is headed. So backward C, indicating where we do have those strong winds. And this is, I'm assuming, an hour out?
Yes.
Okay, so this is where this is going to be in an hour. Glenwood in about 1 hour. Abbeville, 6:59, so in the next 4 or 5 minutes, going to be moving through your area. Eastman, 7:04. Milan, around 7:19. McRae at 7:31. Jacksonville, 7:35. And up toward Lumber City at 7:53. So we'll be watching this whole area of thunderstorm activity, and we're starting to see this kind of try to merge together from Warner Robins down toward Eastman. I think that's when we'll see that line kind of congeal into one straight line as it moves through Eastman and into Dublin as well. So that could be a good thing once we get a more linear structure in here. That will help bring down the severe weather threat a little bit. But this embedded supercell really out ahead of that main line has just been rotating ever since it developed in southeastern Alabama. So it's been a long-lived area of rotation, long-lived supercell, and now we're seeing it kind of tighten back up and potentially produce an area of damage with potential tornadoes, and that's why that tornado warning has been issued. So again, if you are in these areas, make sure you go to that interior room of your house. Let's go ahead and look at that couplet again, Ryan, that area of rotation. And again, still continuing to see this kind of broaden out a little bit. Again, good news, not as tight as it was when that tornado warning was issued. You can see it kind of expanding. But Pineview Highway over toward West Commerce Street, and I'll step off so you can see some other names: Cedar Creek, Cannonville Road, Richland, and 112. That's where this storm is going to be headed. Area of rotation appears to be widening out and expanding a little bit, but we are going to be watching that area of rotation continue to trek off to the east. A little bit of hail with this system as well, so starting to get a little bit more ingredients put together, so we could potentially see some hail. But I think 1 inch hail is going to be hard to come by. 3/4 of an inch hail will be possible from this area where we do see the dark shading. Or gray shading. That's where could potentially see some hail moving into the Rochelle area. And these storms are moving out of Cordele down toward Abbeville, still tracking some of those storms as well. So this is going to be...
They did just say an update that the rotation has been very broad, so they will not be extending the tornado warning unless something changes.
Okay. And if we have any folks with family down in Southwest Georgia, large area of 60 to 70 mile an hour winds between Morgan, moving east into Dougherty County and eventually into Albany over the next half hour. And that's what we mentioned earlier, that significant severe thunderstorm watch. And that's why we see the fuchsia there popping up. This is where that area of wind is going to be. Pull up velocity data on that, Ryan. That pocket of wind right there and right there, that's where we're going to be seeing the strongest wind. But there's a little bit of rotation there as well. Look at those winds, 64 miles per hour. And that's not too far away from the radar. So going to be watching those move off to the north and east. So we'll be watching that closely. Let's go back up to that tornado warning. That goes until 7:15, so another 15 minutes or so. Show velocity data on that and show that where that area of circulation is. So again, becoming a little bit more broad. Zoom out a little bit and go back to when that warning was issued, and we'll show you what we're talking about becoming wider and more expansive. So two kind of very close areas of red and green, but as this advances into the future, you can see those becoming more spread out and covering a larger area, indicating that this area of rotation is becoming more broad, and the tornado threat at the second is coming down in nature a little bit. So we'll be watching this closely as it continues to move off to the north and east near Finlayson, and eventually moving into Abbeville, McRae, Eastman. And you can see the big severe thunderstorm warning that was issued along with this. Go ahead and zoom out, Ryan, and we'll go back to radar data. And you can see this severe thunderstorm warning goes from pretty much near Jeffersonville all the way down toward Rochelle and Abbeville, moving off to the east at about 40 to 50 miles an hour. And that does go until 7:15 as well. So expecting this line to be through Eastman and into Abbeville by 7:15. Ryan, let's go ahead and get an update from you.
All right. Thanks so much, Eric. Yeah. So again, we still do have the tornado warning that's out for Dooley, Pulaski, and Wilcox counties until 7:15. This means if you are into these areas, you won't want to take cover. The conditions are imminent for rotation to be on the atmosphere. This is still radar indicated, so there is no confirmation of a tornado on the ground, but that could really change at any moment. We have been talking about the rotation becoming broader, which is signs that the signal is weakening, but still not impossible for a tornado to be touching down until this warning really continues until 7:15. So not into the all clear quite yet, but it is looking to weaken over the next 15 minutes or so, hopefully for us. So still keeping a very close eye on it. Most of the lightning looks like it has passed through the county and the polygon there down now to the south. So that's also some good news for us, but still very torrential rain and those signatures of the rotation in the atmosphere. When we look on our winds, we really want to see those dark reds right next to the dark greens. It looks like we've got a little bit still really coming up right next to State Route 112, but it is a broader area that we're keeping an eye on. The reds away, the green towards, and then that's creating that rotation that's possible for a tornado to be forming. It is a very broader area, which is some good news, is that it's not as coupled as it was about 15 minutes ago. I think they actually they just canceled the tornado warning, so no longer is that out. It is now too broad that they have considered this to not be a threat on the ground at this time, but still a part of the severe thunderstorm warning. This could rotate back up. Things sometimes goes in cycles. It cools down and then picks back up. So we will still be keeping a close eye on this. But at this time, the tornado warning has now been canceled. So no threat at this current moment of a tornado being on the ground. Should be good to be out of your safe zones at this time. But though at this moment, the tornado warning is canceled for now. I think we are planning to maybe, Eric, stick with this for a few minutes.
We're going to stick with this for a few minutes, just so people in the back know kind of what we're dealing with. These storms can happen very quickly. We want to make sure this isn't going to cycle and produce another tight area of rotation with the storm as it moves off to the east. So it is moving into an environment that is less favorable for the severe weather to happen, but it's still favorable nonetheless. So we'll be keeping a close eye on this. Let's jump back to radar, Ryan.
Mm-hmm.
And just kind of let's zoom out. We'll start at the northern end of the viewing area and move south. So some very heavy rainfall, thunder and lightning, Sandersville, McIntyre down toward Warner Robins, but no warnings north of I-16 at this moment. And we like to see that. Some very heavy rainfall and strong thunderstorms nonetheless, with some winds maybe up to 40 or 50 miles an hour associated with this. But as this moves off to the south and east, we are going to see these storms progressively get weaker and eventually fizzle out. As we go toward Warner Robins and Dublin, you have been kind of left out in the action throughout the afternoon, but I think we're going to see that storm in this line merge right around the Dublin area. And when that happens, we could see an uptick in rotation, just a little bit of enhancement in the wind in the right way, and we could see this storm really fall apart. But if it goes the other way, we could see an area of enhancement and could see a couplet or an area of rotation develop with that storm. So Warner Robins, you are getting out of the severe weather threat, as well as Perry and Montezuma. Let's go back down to that severe thunderstorm warning from Eastman down into Abbeville. Look at how much lightning is associated. We haven't had a ton of lightning with this, especially with these embedded supercells, but definitely seeing quite a bit of lightning popping up from Rochelle into Abbeville as this moves off to the east. Eventually going to move into Milan, McRae, Chauncey, and Eastman. But again, this is where we did have that tornado warning, and that was broadening and looked like it was losing a little bit of structure. Just so the control room knows, we'll probably shoot for 7:05, 7:06 for an exit time, but we'll look at radar trends here shortly. Just wanted to try and give you a little heads up. Ryan, let's go ahead and look at velocity data with this. And don't go too tight, and we'll kind of just play this back and see what trends look like over the last couple of scans. So go ahead and take it all the way back to 75. So you can see that spin up. Tight couplet showing. That's where the tornado warning was issued. Area of broadening rotation and still becoming a little bit more broad, not those tight couplets. Some very heavy wind, heavy rain, and pretty strong winds moving into Abbeville right now. You can see there with the blues popping up. Over toward Eastman, you're going to get some of those heavy winds as well. And let's go back to radar and look at the big picture. And again, no other warnings in Middle Georgia at this time. So when does this warning expire again?
I think the warning expires at 7:15.
Okay.
I believe we could check again.
So in about 10 minutes, we will see
7:15,
this warning expire if this trend continues. So I think the main threat from that area was moving into the Eastman area and then eventually toward McRae as well. So we'll be watching that as it continues to move off to the east. Let's go ahead and just throw up that tornado watch. I know a lot of areas were canceled, but some were expanded. So let's touch on that. So we did expand that tornado watch to include Soperton, Mount Vernon, McRae, Eastman, Dublin, and Wrightsville.
And these are until 9 p.m. now.
Not surprised to see that extension with the trends of these storms, but notice south of Abbeville, that tornado watch doesn't exist. Could see an extension with that, but we're watching that closely as well. And there we go. I was just going to ask you to change that. So at the top of the screen, you can see 9 o'clock. There we have that tornado watch until. So another 2 hours on this, but these storms should be moving through the area very quickly and probably be out of the area by 9 o'clock. But if it slows down for some reason, let's go. I'm just looking at velocity data off screen and not seeing anything too crazy. Ryan, let's go ahead and have you do a quick update.
All right. Yes, Eric, thank you. So we still have another 2 hours for those tornado watches to be in effect, which means the conditions are favorable, especially for those counties. I'll pull them up one more time. When the difference between a watch and a warning, when we have the watch out, these are normally in place for a few hours, and this means the conditions are favorable for tornadoes to be forming as the storms continue to roll down to the southeast. But when we have the warnings, the tornado warnings, that's when the conditions are imminent for a tornado to be on the ground potentially in that current moment. But those are the more pertinent things and why we come on air for the tornado warnings, that meaning that there could be potentially a tornado on the ground. They did just extend another tornado warning for this, actually. This did just rotate back up, I think. They did just issue a renewed tornado warning for Dodge, Pulaski, and Wilcox County until 7:30. So that tornado warning that just expired, they just re-put that out for now for a new tornado warning until 7:30. So that area broadening, it looks to have recycled back up and has another system. So this was the area that we were watching. It looks like now this is the latest Doppler winds coming in. You can see that's really strong winds. This is the blue, even stronger than the green, and there's that really dark red as well. So that's really what we're seeing that's going to be causing this new tornado warning to be issued. We still have another one now for till 7:30. So we're keeping a very close eye on to that. Let's see if there's any debris. There is some good debris. This confirmed on the ground. This was confirmed on the ground right now. So this tornado is on the ground. It was observed for, let's zoom in exactly to see where this is, this area of rotation. Just to the west of State Route 230, moving quickly to the northeast for us. Doesn't look like there's any exact areas right here, but just south of Midway Church Road, heading towards State Route I-70, or State Route 87, moving quickly to the northeast. And this is going to be heading towards Eastman very quickly over the next 15 minutes or so. That could potentially having some tornado. How fast was this moving? It was moving to the northeast at 25 miles per hour. So a bit slower than some of the other storms that have been moving through, but still has a pretty good speed behind it. So let's time this out here over the next little while. Actually, let me redo that. Over the next half an hour. This is where the storm's coming towards Eastman at 7:34, Dodge High at 7:32. This has been a tornado that is confirmed on the ground currently right now, located over Cedar Creek, 8 miles northwest of Abbeville. And again, it is moving northeast at 25 miles per hour. So this is the really big system that we're keeping an eye on. Go back to that debris signature. So what we really want to look is that really dark change in colors. This is showing that the tornado could possibly be lifting stuff into the atmosphere. So this could be where the tornado is, lifting things possibly just west of State Route 230 and quickly moving up to the northeast again towards, as we get up towards Eastman and moving further to the northeast or so. Let me move this. See, here was about 7:03, about maybe 6 or 7 minutes ago. Didn't really see too much being lifted up, but they just they just had that new warning. And here about 7:06, you really see when that stuff starts to pick up. And there's that signature that there could be potentially a tornado on the ground currently. And this was observed to be on the ground still from the National Weather Service. So this still could be possibly. The rotation says that they're getting stronger just east of Wilcox and Dodge County line. So this could be continuing to pick it up. And Eric, I'll toss it over to you now for more of the coverage.
Thanks, Ryan. Yeah, I want you to go ahead and zoom right in, and we'll see some streets popping up, especially north and east of 230. So this is going to be moving right toward Eastman. Go ahead and zoom right in there. There's Highlands Lake Road. And don't worry about the debris. We want to know the road names. So this is going to be Orphan Cemetery Road, Sugarberry Road, Studstill Road, Orphan Cemetery Road, Rocky Springs Road. If any of these sound familiar, you need to get into your interior room of your house, away from windows and doors immediately. This is a confirmed tornado on the ground, and it is heading toward Eastman as we speak. So this is going to be near the New Salem Church, and going to continue to move off to the north. As it does so, it's going to move near the Collins Lawn Control area, Bethelville Christian Retreat and Lodging. These are all places that need to take cover immediately as this storm continues to move off to the east. So it's going to move again. There's County Road 95, County Line Road, Noonan Road. We can go up a little bit further, Ryan. Let's try to get out ahead of this. Old River Road, Log Cabin Road, Highland Lakes Drive. Those areas are where this is headed. So let's zoom out a little bit, and we'll show you where that area of rotation is. This is going to head right toward Eastman. I did see a new debris signature scan come out. Let's see if we can look at that. And it looks like it's widening a little bit. Go back a few scans. You can see how tight that was right at 129 and kind of becoming expansive. So when we see it expand like that, potentially signaling that the updraft is weakening a little bit and allowing the debris that was sucked up into the atmosphere spread out a little bit. Now, if we were to see that tight debris signature last a little longer, could indicate that it was still on the ground, but still watching this very closely. And this is why we stick with these storms. As soon as the warning issues is expired, we don't jump off, because look at how fast this can happen. A tornado on the ground confirmed doing damage near 129, now crossing 230. Let's jump back to velocity data. And let's zoom in this area and pull up some more road names. So there's Noonan Road. There's Log Cabin Drive, T.C. Ross Road, Mount Annis Church Road, Orphans Cemetery Road, Hidden Trails Road. These areas need to take cover immediately. This tornado confirmed on the ground moving toward your area is doing damage, and we're seeing that indicative of a tornado debris signature on our debris tracker. So let's zoom out a little bit, Ryan, and let's put a track on this. So it looks like we're almost trying to start a new area of rotation there and maybe there. You could see two areas that I'm concerned with. And again, moving toward Eastman. So this is going to be in Eastman at 7:37. So you have 25 minutes before the storm is in the Eastman area. And Eastman a little bit more populated than what it's moving through right now. So more structures, more homes, more businesses, and things like that. So hopefully we continue to see this weaken over the next couple of radar scans. And it looks like it's broadening out with that area of rotation as well. But go back just a couple scans where we did see that, yeah, right there. That's where we saw that tornado debris signature starting. It was actually a little bit further back. Go ahead and go back a little bit more, Ryan. Keep going.
Oh, sorry.
Right about there. That's where we saw the couplet pop up, and that's where we started seeing tornado debris signature, and that was the area that did have some damage associated with it as well. So tornado confirmed on the ground. 709 rotations getting stronger.
Yeah, they just issued a new severe thunderstorm warning as well for some of the area. I think part of this.
Dodge, Lawrence, Montgomery. Okay. Let's zoom out, and that should encompass the rest of that. Go ahead and zoom all the way out.
Mm-hmm.
There it is. I was waiting for that to come through. There's the new severe thunderstorm warning. So based on this, that tornado warning does go until 7:30, so only for 15 more minutes. And I am starting to see that area of rotation. Okay, so we had two tornado debris signatures, Ryan, popping up at 7:07. The National Weather Service confirmed that. So this is going to continue to move off to the east, and we'll go back and analyze where those debris signatures were But this is now heading up towards Soperton into McRae, and that severe thunderstorm warning does go until 8 o'clock. So we're going to stay with this at least until 7:30. Wanted to get a look at some damage that was done earlier. Control room, can we pull up some of the damage that we're seeing in the Griffin area? Okay. Okay. All right. We're probably going to extend this coverage just until 8 o'clock until this actually moves through the viewing area. Again, if you have family down in Southwest Georgia in the Albany area, some significant weather headed that way as well. Okay, new severe thunderstorm warning for Albany area. Ryan, if you want to go ahead
push,
and
yes.
get that pushed out. But tornado warning just off to the north and east of us. But this is that significant severe thunderstorm warning until 7:30. You can see the pink shading peeking through. That draws our attention to this, and that is for winds over your run-of-the-mill severe thunderstorm warning, 60 miles an hour, upwards of 60 to 70 miles an hour with those winds. That is capable of doing the same amount of damage that a tornado is capable of doing. So something to take serious. This is moving off to the north and east, moving up toward Ashburn, Sylvester as well. Let's go back to that tornado warning, and we'll show you how quickly this is moving. So new radar scan just coming in, and this tornado warning does go until 7:30, Dodge, Pulaski, and Wilcox County, and then that bigger severe thunderstorm warning, Dodge, Lawrence, Telfair, and Wheeler counties until 8 o'clock. So we'll be watching that. Potential for tornadoes to spin up pretty quickly. It's amazing how quick that happens. Interesting. So if we look at
Another update for the severe thunderstorm warning.
okay,
Considerable wind, tornado possible.
okay, so we saw that pink pop up. That's what I was just talking about, Ryan, and that's going to be in the Eastman area, McRae. So even though you're not included in a tornado warning in this severe thunderstorm warning, significant. We make these colors so they draw your attention to it, so you see something that you don't typically see, and that's because we do have that severe wind threat with those winds upwards of 70 miles per hour moving into Eastman, moving into McRae, and that area of rotation still existing there just to the south and west of Eastman. Tornado debris signature has dropped. Let's zoom right in on that tornado warning, Ryan. And you can see kind of two different areas of rotation that I'm kind of looking at. Maybe one right here trying to form, and then another one down here. So we did have two tornado debris signatures when this warning was issued at 7:06. And we're still seeing some decent signs of rotation, not nearly as drastic as what we just had, but there's a new radar update. Again,
Right, the National Weather Service is adding that considerable tag, they say, for golf ball sized hail possible.
okay, so that was not for winds. Let's throw up our hail tracker, and we'll show you where that hail threat is as well. Moving just south of Eastman, you can see where those purples are, and or blues rather, moving right over 117 and 165 Milan Eastman Road. That is where we could, Ryan, go ahead and query this. 1.25 inch, 1 3/10 size hail showing up on radar right now. So this is a strong thunderstorm, a strong supercell producing areas of rotation, rotating updrafts, and producing hail upwards of 1 inch to 1.5 inches in diameter. This is a very impressive cell. So control room, we're going to have to get on for Southwest Georgia as well. We have a new tornado warning for them. So Ryan, let's go ahead and zoom back out. We're starting to see that hail size come down a little bit, but still some significant hail showing up in this severe thunderstorm warning. And We're going to go down into southwest Georgia, where we do have a tornado warning until 7:45. Just let me know when we're up on WFXL, and we'll talk to them about this tornado warning as well. But let's stick with Middle Georgia for the time being because of that significant severe thunderstorm warning and that tornado warning that does go until 7:30. So another 10 minutes on this warning. Very powerful storm moving into Eastman as well as McRae, producing some hail. Right where you see that pocket of lightning is where we see our hail risk, but still an area of rotation trying to show up near the Eastman area as the storms move off to the east. Okay, and we're on Fox 31 in southwest Georgia as well. Ryan, let's go to that tornado warning in southwest Georgia where we do have a new severe thunderstorm warning and a new tornado warning. This is going to be for Baker, Early, and Miller counties until 7:45. Let's go ahead and show that area of rotation that the tornado warning was issued for. And it's going to be right in there. You can see those reds and greens right next to each other, moving toward Damascus, up toward Milford, and trekking off to the east. Storm motion on that, I can look that up.
And it's moving east at 45 miles per hour.
Okay, east at 45 miles per hour. So pretty fast moving storm as well. And if you are joining us, Ryan, let's go ahead and show a wider view of velocity. Mm-hmm. We have that significant severe thunderstorm warning for Dougherty County and winds up to 70 miles an hour, possibly moving into Albany as we speak. So some very strong winds associated with the thunderstorms. And then, of course, we have those embedded tornado warnings as well. And Arlington, you are just north of that tornado warning. Milford, and then eventually over toward Newton, we do have some storms moving your way with the possibility of rotation. Ryan, let's go to that severe thunderstorm warning for Albany.
Mm-hmm.
Up here. So those strong winds moving into Albany as we speak. So this severe thunderstorm warning does go until 7:30. Go ahead and throw velocity data up on this. And we are seeing some significant, when we start to see these yellows popping up, you can see in our scale, as we get into these yellows and darker colors, that's when we see those winds up into the 60, 65, 70 mile an hour range. So near Leesburg, 64 miles an hour pinging on radar. Now we are starting to get a little bit far away from the radar, so we're up a couple thousand feet, but earlier reports of damage from these 60 to 70 mile an hour winds in the Morgan area moving toward Albany as well. So damaging wind threat, but we do have that tornado warning just to the south of Morgan into Blakely and down toward Newton, Colquitt, and Camilla as well. So several different areas of rotation that we are working, and we're on in Middle Georgia and Southwest Georgia. So we're kind of pinballing back and forth with these storms. Ryan, let's go back up to the tornado warning moving toward Eastman. That is set to expire at 7:30 as well. So Dodge, Pulaski, and Wilcox County. Let's show velocity data. Let's see what this is kind of pinging. So we are starting to see that kind of expand a little bit. Still some notches in the red, indicating where there is shear, there is some rotation with these storms moving right into the Eastman area, but not as evident as we did see. Did they update that from?
No, there is no extra confirmation saying if they're going to extend it or if there was an update from how the storm has been continuing to move.
Okay. The possible tornado debris signature southwest of Eastman just a few moments ago. So let's go ahead and go back just a little bit. Right here. One more. Right there. I bet you if you throw up debris tracker, that's where we saw that potential tornado debris signature. Not going to pop out at you. Very evident right there. Go back. Could see that. Go back a little bit more. Potentially a tornado debris signature there as that storm moves off to the east. So going to continue to see that area of rotation move toward Eastman. Not as well defined, but it's how quickly they can happen and they can touch down, and it'll be on the ground for a minute or two, potentially 5, maybe 10. But there's Dodge High included in that tornado warning until 7:30. Let's jump back down to Southwest Georgia, Ryan, and we'll talk about that tornado warning too. So we're working 2 different tornado warnings in 2 different areas of the state. So we'll get you that information as quickly as possible. Tornado warning for Baker, Early, and Miller counties until 7:45. So this is going to be a little longer. Go ahead and throw velocity data up here. Try to move around a little bit. See if we can't get another radar image. Right there, that's the area of rotation. And you kind of see a couple different areas of rotation associated with this. Nothing that jumps out. Maybe right there, another potential. Throw up radar real quick. Don't move. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, a little area of some thunderstorm activity there, but I think the main area of circulation is going to be right near the Damascus area and moving toward Newton as well. So we have that tornado warning until 7:45. We're also starting to see a lot of severe thunderstorm warnings with a significant verbiage in it, significant wording from the National Weather Service for those winds upward of 60 to 70 miles an hour. So 1 tornado warning in Southwest Georgia, Baker, Early, and Miller counties. North of Colquitt, there's 27. Moving off to the east, up toward Milford. There's some more road names on there as well. So there's 45. And I think that's probably going to be the area of circulation right here at this point. But another 15 minutes or so on that warning. Let's jump back to the other one. This one's set to expire in just a few minutes. And let's... Areas of enhanced rotation along the overall line. A couple of these have been in eastern Early County, and another more recent one over Baker. We'll continue to monitor for brief tornadoes within this main convective line. That's from the National Weather Service in Southwest Georgia. So we'll do a quick update on this and see.
They canceled some of the severe thunderstorm warning and added some new ones.
Okay. All right, that's going to be in Southwest Georgia as well. So this is going to stay a severe thunderstorm warning with a tornado possible tag as we move towards 7:30. Ryan, let's go ahead and zoom out a little bit. Again, a couple areas of rotation in the Eastman area within that tornado warning at this point. But I think overall as a line, we are starting to see this become more linear and potentially starting to see that tornado threat come down a little bit as these move toward McRae and then eventually toward Mount Vernon over the next hour or so. New radar scan, not seeing a huge change and nothing glaring out at me. Again, another minute on this tornado warning. Ryan, let's jump back to Southwest Georgia where we did have that severe thunderstorm warning get updated and still dealing with that tornado warning. So the National Weather Service hinting that from Albany down toward Newton into Blakely and down into southeastern Alabama, that is the main convective line that they were talking about, the main thunderstorm line. Okay, they continued that tornado warning. Moving east at 50, hail 1.25 inches. Dodge, Lawrence, Montgomery, Telfair. Let's jump back to that one, Ryan.
Okay. Oh, they really extended this.
Yeah, it's moving at 50 miles an hour. So we can put a track on that. Go ahead and draw that line and then east.
Let me update the speed. Oh, right.
Okay, yeah, that's going to be moving through Glenwood into Vidalia here very quickly.
That's the next half hour.
Dodge, Lawrence, Trutland, and Wheeler counties. And let's look at some times of arrival. So McRae, 7:30, Eric, 7:33, Scotland, 7:38, Glenwood, 7:43, Oak Grove, 7:55, and Higston as you move toward 8 o'clock. So let's zoom out a little bit, Ryan, and we'll show you where on the map this is what we're going to be dealing with. And I don't think there's one area of rotation that is more prominent than another at this point. But this will move towards Soperton, into Vidalia over the next half hour. This tornado warning does go until 8 o'clock. So that velocity data, Ryan, moving through Eastman and McRae. Potentially right there, an area of rotation. And then right along this line, you can just see how there's not anything too distinct. So explanation from the National Weather Service, strong inflow and likely new tornado development in the front notch and or comma head to the northwest. So let's show radar and we'll kind of analyze this and show you what they're talking about. We can zoom out a little bit. So enhanced rotation and inflow is going to be right here. So we have the inflow from the south out ahead of this, and you can see really the whole storm is spinning. The whole mesocyclone is spinning, and it could be just a matter of time before we see this spin up and produce another tornado. Ryan, let's go over to you for an update on this one and Southwest Georgia as well.
All right, thanks, Eric. Yeah, so let's just take the wider image again. We still do have this tornado warning for Dodge, Lawrence, Treutlen, and Wheeler counties until 8 o'clock. We've got lots of areas of rotation that we're keeping a close eye on, and we still do have another tornado warning down in Southwest Georgia as well. This is for Baker, Early, and Miller County. Moving quickly also to the northeast, and this is in place until 7:45. Let's see if any of the rotation in the atmosphere comes a bit more clearer. Looks like we're still keeping an eye on really this kind of general area kind of in here. You're seeing some of the greens right next to some of the reds. That can be showing some rotation in the atmosphere just south of Douglas Crossroads that we're keeping an eye on. Bethany heading towards you, Damascus south of that, Macedonia. If you are in these areas, especially just south of Douglas Crossroads, let me see if I can zoom in a little bit more. This is where we're seeing the really strong signatures of some tornado rotation. This has not been confirmed to be on the ground, but we are seeing the significant conditions for the rotation to be in the atmosphere, which we could be seeing a tornado touchdown at any moment. So just south of Douglas Crossroads, this is moving quickly to the north and east. So heading towards Phillipsburg Road, towards State Route 200, towards Bethany Milford Road. You're going to be seeing some of this rotation come over you in the next 15 minutes or so. You're going to want to be into your safe area. There's the latest update. Looks like it actually weakened a little bit with that latest radar coming in. Didn't see that yellow anymore, but still kind of seeing some of those reds right next to those greens, especially right here, just south of State Route 200 in Bethany, over towards the east as well, that we're keeping a very close eye on. Towards Milford Road. Yeah, this is heading quickly to the northeast over the next 15 minutes or so. If you live in this area, you will want to be taking cover. Go as far away from the outdoors as you can, an interior room with no windows and no doors. But this is in place again until about 7:45 p.m. right now for the next about 10 minutes or so. And this is a part of a bigger severe thunderstorm warning for Southwest Georgia. That includes Early and Miller and Seminole counties, stretches up as well. Looks like they have taken out the severe thunderstorm warning for Albany and Dougherty County as well. But let's also move back up to Middle Georgia because we are still keeping an eye on that really large area of the tornado warning and the severe thunderstorm warning. Really out for Dodge, Lawrence, Telfair, Wheeler counties. You're in the thick of it right now, hearing all that lighting out and that thunder as well. But there is the pink for the severe thunderstorm warning, which means the conditions are rather considerably dangerous, especially for the high hail that was out. That we're reporting potentially golf ball sized hail. I think that has begun to calm down, but we still do have the tornado warning. Let's see if we can find any areas of rotation here. It is a rather larger linear area of rotation, but along this whole entire line, this is where the tornado warning is extending to. So we could be seeing a few areas of rotation still start to pick up here. A little further down towards McRae. We really want to look for those bright greens right next to those bright reds. That's showing the potential of the rotation in the atmosphere that could spawn a tornado. Still seeing them rather close to each other right over Jaybird Springs, McRae, really over the next 15 minutes or so. You could be seeing some of that rotation come over you. You also want to get to your safe spaces, take cover. The tornado warning is out, which means conditions are imminent. A tornado could be touching down at any moment if there already isn't one. But these are all radar indicated once again, so there's no confirmation of these tornadoes being on the ground at this moment, but we do see the signatures on radar, see the really bright reds right here, right next to the greens. There's our latest update again, continuing to move off to the north and east very quickly. Still not seeing any singular pockets that are standing out significantly. Let's see if we could show up on shear. See, we are seeing a little bit of the shear here. The wind shear showing the change in direction and speed of winds with heights really over McRae right now. This could be showing some of the rotation still heading towards Alamo, State Route 126 as well. Still want to get into cover right now. This could be a tornado that touches on the ground at this current time, but we still are keeping an eye for this tornado till 8 p.m. So that goes for another 25 minutes at least for Dodge, Lawrence, Treutlen, and Wheeler counties for us. We are wanting to keep a very close eye. Let's see if there's any updates from the National Weather Service. There have not been any significant updates. But we're going to be seeing these storms still roll through our area for the next hour or so, or the next several hours at least, that are still going to be moving through the state. Lots of rumbles of thunder for us as we get through the next few hours for us. But still, we've got quite a few severe thunderstorm and tornado warnings coming in. Let's see if there's any hail that is coming down with the storm. Still seeing some sort of hail that's indicated on the radar. I'm not sure if this is actually falling onto the ground, but still seeing a little bit of hail that we're tracking. Less than half an inch, so it is lower than what it was before if the hail was falling.
I sent you a location of
we are definitely
tornado
keeping
debris
this
signature
stuff.
for the Eastman area.
Eric, your mic is unmuted, by the way. And we are still really keeping a close eye on these systems. So let's go back down to the Southwest Georgia tornado warning once again. Again, this is out for Baker, Early, and Miller County until 7:45. So still got about 10 more minutes for this storm. Still keeping a close eye on the rotation that could be happening. Still looks like it's rather broad, but we're still seeing those greens right next to those reds. That's possible, continuing to move eastward. And that's what we're really keeping an eye on. Looks to have, we're still seeing the storm. We're still seeing some of the signatures of that rain, especially with that dark red right next to the dark green into this general area. Phillipsburg Road, just south of 201 Bethany, heading towards Milford Road still. You're going to want to be into those covers. Stay inside, away from the outdoors at all possible. The most interior room on the lowest level of your home, just if there is a tornado that has touching down on the ground. It looks like they just actually expired this tornado warning for the Southwest Georgia. I think that's what the chat says. I'm not seeing it quite on our radar yet. Eric, did you see that tornado warning gets canceled?
So when it's within a certain time frame, it won't actually clear until the expiration time.
Okay.
So this morning in Southwest Georgia, the National Weather Service did expire it, but it was set to expire at 7:45.
Right.
And when we were within, I believe it's a 15-minute window of that expiring, they can't clear it off of the board.
Right.
But
said,
I think it's okay that it's still issued.
I think they said they're going to reissue it for a moment, issuing a tornado warning momentarily for the storm near Newton in Baker County.
Okay.
Be out in a minute, they said.
Okay.
So they could reissue it.
Yeah, I think that's a little further southwest. So I'm going to say that's back. If we look at rotation, you should be able to figure out where that new tornado warning is coming out. So we're on in Southwest Georgia and in Middle Georgia, and we're working 2 different tornado warnings at this time, and we'll likely see a third one issued. So, there's the new warning, and that's going to be part of Dougherty County. Okay, that's what I was looking at. That area of rotation just caught my attention. Go ahead and pull that area of rotation out right in Newton. Look at that. Let's go ahead.
This was moving at 45 miles per hour, it says, to the east.
I wouldn't be surprised if we start to see some damage coming out of that. That's a pretty well-defined couplet. What's the gate-to-gate shear showing on that?
I am trying to click it.
But you can see those yellows and greens right next to each other. So typically we have one side that's a little bit more pronounced until it becomes a mature system. So look at that gate-to-gate shear, 92 miles an hour. Wind damage of around 100 miles an hour is the EF1 damage. So nothing confirmed on the ground. I do have our debris tracker pulled up on this computer, so I'll see it if we do see it pop up. But for now, very evident area of rotation moving right through Newton as well. So Ryan, this is going to be difficult to kind of bounce back and forth from these 2 warnings, but Let's go ahead and work the middle Georgia one. Okay, put a time track on this. Baconton around 7:53, and then Bridgeboro right around 8:10, 8:15 as that warning expires. Again, this one for Baker, Early, and Miller County has been allowed to expire and will clear here in 5 minutes. But very impressive radar signature, velocity signature with this one. And we're pretty close to the radar there too, so it's not too high up into the mid to upper levels of the atmosphere. So Ryan, I'm going to let you work this one real quick, and I'm going to take a look at some things in Southwest Georgia off air. But Dodge, Lawrence, and Wheeler County, this goes until 8 o'clock. Big tornado warning has been issued because there is pockets of rotation within that. So Ryan, let's go ahead and get an update from you.
Yeah, thanks, Eric. So yeah, we are keeping a close eye on the one in Middle Georgia right now. Again, this is out for Dodge, Lawrence, Truland, and Wheeler County until 8 o'clock. It is rather wide, but we're still seeing areas of rotation potentially in the atmosphere. There is no confirmation of this being on the ground or any tornadoes being on the ground. This is radar indicated because of all the rotation that we're seeing. We want to see those bright greens right next to the bright reds. We got a nice line of it here, and this is why the tornado warning is so wide for us, and that's why we're keeping a really close eye on it right now. And it looks like a little bit down here, they are a lot closer together. This almost looks like this has been kind of cycling around. That's an area where there is a lot more closer to the reds and the greens, that we could be seeing a little bit more of the rotation that could be possible into the atmosphere right now. Still no new updates exactly where the best chance of a tornado coming exactly on the ground, but we're seeing this broad area of rotation possible for a tornado to be touching at any moment possibly. It looks like we could be seeing, really, this is the tightest area that looks like the red closest to the green, just northeast of Scotland, State Route 149, heading towards County Road 174. You are under this tornado warning. You will want to be taking cover into an interior room in case of that the damaging winds have any effect. From the outside, you want to be inside shelter just in case if anything does begin to touch on the ground, but not seeing a whole lot of very isolated shear at the moment. Let's look at our shear tracker. Still seeing a little bit more. Okay, they just updated this to a new polygon. Now it's out for Montgomery and Wheeler counties as this continues to move across for us. So it is smaller now, but this is until 8 o'clock that this just came in. So let's see if we can find a better area for rotation. It looks like it's still down here for us, still in just south of Alamo now, and County Road 174 still in this, right next to State Route 149. Looks like that's going to be our best chance for any of the rotation to be forming. Again, this is going to be radar indicated, but it is moving very quickly to the east at 50 miles per hour. So taking this over the past 10 minutes or so, it just has moved very rapidly, continuing to move to the northeast. I'll put a tracker on it for the 50-mile-an-hour thing and continuing to move this up to the northeast. Looks like it's going to be headed towards Mount Vernon at least. This is over the next 25 minutes. Headed for Mount Vernon at 7:57. Higgston at 8:07. There's area of rotation continuing to move up and into the northeast. If you are into this area, again, you're going to want to be taking cover as there are indications of a possible tornado on the radar at this time. And this goes out until effect till about 8 o'clock. Eric, do you also want me to do the Southwest Georgia, still go back to that?
I could jump on that if you want.
Okay, I'll hand it off to you.
If you just want to drive radar and head down there, that would be
I've
great.
got you.
And let's go back to Newton. Okay, and we are getting reports, unfortunately, that these tornadoes were deadly in Alabama, according to Fox. But we're working these warnings right now. Still not seeing a tornado debris signature pop up with this storm. But this is going to be moving into Mitchell County, crossing the Flint River. This is really going to be moving right up the Flint River over toward Baconton and eventually towards Bridgeboro. Again, not getting any confirmation that this is on the ground, but this is a very strong mesocyclone. Gate-to-gate shear still showing 86 miles an hour with velocity at 68 miles an hour. So even without a tornado on the ground, this is a storm that really should be getting your attention and having you move to that interior room of your house away from windows and doors. Baconton up toward Bridgeboro as well. So let's widen out a little bit, Ryan, and we'll go downstream a little bit and show you where this storm is headed. So it's going to be eventually moving toward Tifton. So let's go out past the warning, kind of give these folks out ahead of this a little bit of a heads up. So this is 75. You're going to see Tifton pop up here very shortly. There's Sylvester. There's Ashburn. So this area of circulation moving off to the north and east and eventually going to move into Tifton, over toward Ocilla, Fitzgerald, and down the pipeline down toward Douglas. So very strong and potent area of storms moving into southwest Georgia as we speak. But you can see these discrete cells that were popping up. They're kind of forming a line, and that is going to transition this to a damaging wind threat versus a supercell, discrete cell tornado threat. Now, can't rule out tornadoes, but as we see this line kind of fill in and become more linear, that's what we're going to see with these storms as they move through southwest Georgia. Let's jump back up to that tornado warning up in middle Georgia. This goes until 8 o'clock, so another 13 minutes or so on this, and throw up velocity data. So typically we have these Boeing segments, and we see the area of rotation kind of on the northwest side of this, but the area of rotation really, the whole thing is just kind of rotating. So a large rotating supercell that's moving through, but nothing indicative of any rotation kind of north and west of 280. Now on the southward extent of this, we do have a little notchiness going on as well. Greg Lloyd working hard. Reports of power lines tangled in trees. This is near Eastman, Greg. Awesome, appreciate it. All right, let's go ahead and pull up the damage that is starting to come into the newsroom now. And this was from earlier near Griffin. So let's go to a live image from Griffin from these storms earlier. Take a look at those trees over the roads. A significant event happening in Griffin, getting some not so good reports out of the Griffin area. Again, this is near 9th Street, North 9th Street in the Griffin area. The emergency management company, emergency management reporting significant damage done to the Hobby Lobby up in the Griffin area. And that was for that storm that did really dance right across the Butts County line. So this storm system has the history of producing tornadoes and tornado damage. And that's why we're taking this very seriously and going to stick with this as we go through the rest of the evening. And again, Fox reporting that there was some deaths reported across Alabama. So Ryan, let's go back right to this severe thunderstorm warning and tornado warning in middle Georgia, moving through McRae right now. And this area of circulation is eventually going to move into Vidalia and Toombs very shortly. Lumber City, you're going to see some storms not included in that tornado warning or severe thunderstorm warning, but those have been both issued until 8 o'clock. So we'll be tracking those as this continues to move off to the east. Let's look at velocity and then debris signature for this area, see if we see anything popping up. Maybe a little bit of a couplet here. It's it's whack-a-mole with this type of setup. We get these brief tornadoes that spin up, or areas of circulation capable of producing the tornadoes, and they just happen so quickly. And let's look at debris signature. I'm not expecting to see anything from this. Go back a little bit. Okay, go forward. Seeing a little bit of a drop, but it doesn't appear to be associated with any areas of rotation. Throw up velocity right along 19 there, just to the south and west of Mount Vernon. Okay, maybe right there, Ryan. A little bit of a couplet. Nothing that jumps out at you, but something to watch. Could also see a little bit of contamination in the radar beam. It's shooting through a lot of heavy rain, hail, and all of that stuff. But tornado warning does go until 8 o'clock, and that does include Mount Vernon. And this is, go back and go forward a little bit, show exact motion on this. So this is moving a little east, northeast. So on this line, it's going to track very, very close to Mount Vernon and then very close to Vidalia as well. So we're going to watch this tornado warning closely. Southwest Georgia, let's go back to you and talk about that. Still looking at some significant rotation near Baconton. No tornado debris signature or no confirmation that this is on the ground, but pretty big area of rotation moving right into the Baconton area, right near 19. Let's go ahead and zoom right in on that, Ryan, and show you some road names if we can get them to pop up there. Let's go down a little bit. So this is going to be Old Georgia Highway 3. There's 19, and there's 93. 93. That area right in Baconton is where we see the largest area of rotation. Ryan, go ahead and query that. So gate to gate shear has come down, but look at those winds. Okay, I'm pinging a little bit further south and west. Go back toward this area. So 96, we're seeing some significant gate to gate shear still showing up in this area, but thankfully no confirmation of any damage or tornado on the ground at this point.
That one says 108 for a little farther south and west.
Yep. So right here, where we see those greens and yellows close to each other, that rotation, gate to gate shear, that means in the atmosphere there's winds spinning at 108 miles an hour. Doesn't necessarily mean that it's on the ground, which we could be seeing because we are a little ways from the radar. So let me see. We're about 60 miles from the radar. So we're up 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 feet. So this could be a mid-level cyclone, but Ryan, query this right here. So 108, velocity at 23 with those winds, probably close to 70 or 80 miles an hour, right over 19. So some significant rotation in Southwest Georgia. Let's zoom out a little bit, Ryan, and we'll put a path on this, go out a little bit more, and then go to the east, and we'll go down the pipeline a little bit. So we'll show out of Mitchell County into Sylvester, and there's tie showing up down the line a little bit, and Doran looking at another tornado warning, the second in not very long, but some times of arrival. Gordy looking at 8:11, Powelton at 8:15, Livingston at 8:05, Bridgeboro at 8:02, Parkerville at 8:06. So still showing some pretty significant signs of rotation. Again, I think it's up in the mid-levels of the atmosphere, not necessarily in the lower levels of the atmosphere, but it doesn't mean that it can't produce a tornado very, very quickly, and that's why we have the tornado warning, and that's why the National Weather Service has issued that tornado warning as well. So still keeping a close eye on that area of rotation, and I'm just checking a few different radar sites on my computer here. Ryan, let's go back to that tornado warning in Middle Georgia. Tornado warning continues until 8 o'clock, and this is moving right into Mount Vernon as we speak. And severe thunderstorm warning goes until 8 o'clock as well. You can see this is approaching the edge of that severe thunderstorm warning as well. So we'll be watching this closely. Areas of rotation just really showing up all over the place. And when we see one spin down, we see another one spin up. And that's going to be a new severe thunderstorm warning out in Southwest Georgia. Wow, that is a large warning. So that goes from southeast Alabama, Florida Panhandle, all the way up to 75, and that goes until 9 o'clock. So pretty expansive severe thunderstorm warning issued by the National Weather Service, and that comes with a tornado possible tag as well. That means we could see brief spin-ups associated with that as well. And still looking at that area of rotation near Baconton, and it is still definitely showing up with that. Ryan, go ahead. Give us an update from you could work both of these storms if you want.
Okay. Yeah, thanks, Eric. So we're still keeping a close eye. We've still got the area of rotation for Southwest Georgia. That's parts of Baker, Doherty, Mitchell, and Worth counties. That's out until 8:15 still. So let's take another closer look at this to see if we see any more of that rotation. Again, we really want those dark reds right next to those dark greens. Let me get rid of the bottom of the layer so we can really see. Still got a little bit of that rotation, a little bit. Looks like it could be one of the areas here. There might be multiple. It looks like there's another, as we are right on the edge of the radars. That's why that's switching colors like that. Let me see exactly where this is. So this is
That's your Tallahassee radar?
Right. We're right on the edge of the radar.
And that's going to be your Moody Air Force.
Right. And this would be probably really high in the atmosphere for the Moody Air Force for this radar. But there still is a little bit of that red right next to the green down south of Baconton still, and we still got this larger area of rotation to the northeast of Baconton and Bain, Bridgeboro, and Putney as well. So keeping still a close eye on this for that rotation. There still has been nothing confirmed on the ground by the National Weather Service, but we are seeing that indication of the rotation that's possible in the atmosphere that we are seeing. So there's that shear tracker. This is tracking the winds changing directions, still just south of Baconton, but this is quickly moving to the north and east. So as we're getting towards Bridgeboro, especially towards just north of State Route 112, again, there could be conditions of a tornado on the ground. You will want to take cover into an interior room of your home, as this is still set in place till about 8:15 p.m. and part of a very large severe thunderstorm warning that's in effect until 9 o'clock for the next hour or so as the storms continue to roll through the Peach State for us. And we'll take a little bit closer look back up here. So this is going to, right now it's still set to expire 8 o'clock as this tornado warning for Montgomery and Wheeler counties for the next 3 minutes or so as this exits kind of the polygon area. They might reissue it, but there has been no confirmation exactly if they are going to do that. They did just update the tornado warning in Southwest Georgia. Again, I will look at that in just 1 second, see if there's any interesting areas of rotation here. Still, we want to see those greens right next to those reds. Looks like it's now to the north of Mount Vernon, moving still up to the northeast right in here, that we're keeping a very close eye on for that rotation potential in the atmosphere. But nothing's really jumping out too far. The shear tracker is way more up to the north and west. So still got a broad area of rotation that we're keeping an eye on as this continues for the next 3 minutes, which looks like it may be able to expire as we approach 8 o'clock. But there has just been an update on the latest one in Southwest Georgia. So let me move back down to that one very quickly. So they updated the polygon to have it a little bit closer in. And I think this now includes Doherty County. Did that have that before in Doherty County before, Eric?
I believe it had the southeast corner.
Did it have the part of the county in there? Okay. So yeah, we're still keeping a close eye on that. So this is still until 8:15. They just kind of took out the end, the southwest end of it as the storm continues to move to the northeast very quickly. And sorry, I just pressed the wrong button. Let me pull that right back up. Get the velocity back up for you and move down here. So we want to see those bright reds right next to those bright greens. Looks like we're right on the edge of the radar. Notice how it's changing colors like that. We're still seeing both of the reds and greens. They're just flip-flopping. That means we're really seeing the rotation in the atmosphere. It looks like really right in here. As I get a little too close to it, right along Gravel Hill Road. That looks like where the rotation looks to be the strongest. There is nothing confirmed on the ground, but if you are in Gravel Hill Road, moving up to the north and east, so we get towards Crestwood, Bridgeboro, you will want to be taking cover right now. This looks like the best indication of a tornado that could be possible. Still no confirmation currently on the ground, but this is radar indicated, and it looks to be that really strong indication of the radar here right over Gravel Hill Road right now. Let's see if we got any shear. The shear is a little bit delayed. You can see it to the southwest, but that will continue moving off to the north and east. Pretty wide area of that shear tracker showing the change in direction of the winds in the atmosphere. So pretty indicative of a lot of the rotation that's currently in the atmosphere. On debris tracker, doesn't look like there's a whole lot. Let me go back over the past 15 minutes to see if we can see. These are usually very quick. Yeah, not seeing a whole lot. Usually here we want to see that really bright color stand out in the dark red the way this debris tracker works is it kind of measures how large things are in the atmosphere. When they're that dark red color, usually everything's about the same size. When it changes to that lighter color, that's when the radar is indicating different sized things in the atmosphere. That means that a tornado could be lifting things up into the atmosphere. So we're not seeing a whole lot of that, just some pretty general colors, meaning that there probably isn't anything being picked up from a potential tornado that could be on the ground right now. I think that tornado warning has expired now for Middle Georgia. So let's go back and look at that really fast. That tornado warning has expired for Middle Georgia, for Montgomery counties. So no longer under the tornado warnings. We've still got the heavy downpours of rain and severe thunderstorm warning. And this goes out until 8:45. So the tornado threat is over for Middle Georgia at this current time from that last tornado threat. We do not have any more indications of a tornado that could be on the ground in Montgomery counties, but we still got the last one over
Ryan,
here.
let's go ahead
Still
and stick with that severe thunderstorm warning in Middle Georgia,
Yes.
just for another 5 or 10 minutes or so,
Okay.
as that continues to move east, and we'll continue in Southwest Georgia on this
Perfect.
tornado warning until at least 8:15.
Okay, we're going to keep doing that. So let's go back and do a little checkup with this tornado, because we did see quite a strong area of rotation. So we've really got those bright reds right next to those bright greens. And again, we're kind of on the edge of the radar here. So as we're kind of switching this back and forth, as it continues moving closer to Middle Georgia and moving to the northeast. But Crestwood, Parkerville, really getting into the area of the rotation right now. This is headed your way. State Route 112, 133. You want to take cover, get into an interior room with no windows or doors, get as far away from the outside as possible in case of any of these damaging winds could impact your home. But this is, again, not confirmed to be exactly onto the ground, but this is radar indicated and could come down at any moment. Large thunderstorm warning issued across much of Southwest Georgia, where storms are coalescing into a line. 60 to 70 mile an hour wind gust on radar, and they're still moving to the east. So kind of getting the wider picture here, the storms will still be rolling for the next hour or so across the state. So they're really kind of moving continuously to the east. Let me play this back over the past hour or so to show you the motion of where these storms are going to be continuing to head. So at this point, they're mostly heading to the east and to the northeast. So over the next few hours, the severe threat will be continuing to come down once the storm's moving over you, back towards Macon and up into the northwestern portions of the state. Most of the severe threat is over, but we still have quite a few severe thunderstorms warnings out. That is for most of the state for us. And right now, I think we have about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-ish warnings out for the entire state right now. So let's zoom back into this one here. This one just expired, the tornado warning, 2 minutes ago, but there's still a severe thunderstorm warning out for Emmanuel, Montgomery, Toombs, and Shrewsbury County until 8:45. This means we could be seeing damaging winds upwards of 60 to 70 miles per hour. For some reference, a Category 1 hurricane is classified at 74 miles per hour winds. So we could be seeing winds upwards of that much with the severe thunderstorms potential over the next hour or so inside of this, for the next 45 minutes inside of this polygon for us. Doesn't look to be like there's having too much rotation in the system anymore, and that's why we don't have the tornado warnings anymore. And Eric, I'll toss it back to you to kind of cover up more about what we're seeing today.
Yeah, Ryan, with the expiration of that tornado warning and these storms kind of moving out of our reach, so not as many folks going to be able to watch us here in Middle Georgia as those storms continue to move off to the east. Go ahead and show storm data, radar data for this. Okay, so yeah, as those storms are moving off to the east, we're going to jump out of this at 8:05. 8:05. We're going to jump out of Middle Georgia, and we'll stick with Southwest Georgia as that tornado warning and the threat of severe weather continues in Southwest Georgia as well. So we'll keep a close eye on these storms as they move off to the south and west as well. But at 8:05 and 45 seconds or so, we'll dump out of this. So let's go ahead and zoom right in here. Ryan will give one last update on this severe thunderstorm warning with a potential tornado. Tornado's possible, but that's going to be moving into Montgomery and Toombs County very, very shortly and moving out of, again, our signal reach. So folks can't watch us if we're on TV as that continues to move east. So for now, we're going to continue our coverage in Southwest Georgia, but Middle Georgia, we're going to turn you back to your primetime programming And just let me know when I'm off control room if you can. Okay. And we will continue to monitor this. All right. Thanks for sticking with us. And we're going to continue our coverage in Southwest Georgia as well. We have one tornado warning, and this goes until 8:15. We're going to be watching this closely for Baker, Dougherty, Mitchell, and Worth counties. No reports of damage coming out of this area yet. Again, radar beams at about 5,000 and 6,000 feet, so we could see some significant rotation up that high, but whether or not that is actually translating to the surface and producing damage has yet to be seen, which is good news. But judging by this line, we're going to see areas of rotation just in the nature of it with those little inflow notches here and there. Let's go ahead and throw velocity data up, Ryan. So a little area of rotation there. So that's why that tornado warning is still in play. Check with the National Weather Service.